When you see an action movie, you watch a kind of filmmaking that is not only unpredictable, but often genuinely dangerous. The staging of action sequences requires the skills of a team of specialists who can carry out lethal tasks without getting a scratch. During his career, stunt coordinator Bob Woodham has died for a living countless times. His films include Fahrenheit 451, Adam's Woman, the James Bond thriller You Only Live Twice. He heads a team of stuntmen who are rarely out of work. Grant Page, 4 years in the Commandos, skydiver and rope specialist. Graham Matrick, 12 years experience as a stunt rider. Herbie Nelson, chief safety man, a veteran of the team. His films include Cleopatra and The Guns of Navarro. The youngest is Warren Campbell. He's been with the team less than a year. He drifted into stunt work after a tour of duty in Vietnam. His experience came in useful during the filming of the war sequences you've just seen. Most war films are made with the cooperation of the Army. Apart from supplying armored personnel carriers and troops, the Army engineers provide some very realistic explosions. Pounds of plastic explosive, 2 gallons of petrol make a stimulating bang, and a long lens on the camera make the stuntmen appear closer to the explosion than they really are. When the script calls for a man to be literally blasted into the air, a trampoline is often used. Here it's concealed from the camera by a mound of earth. A small satchel of flash powder, mixed with aluminum powder, is placed in a concave metal plate, which will direct the blast into the right area. As the stuntman hits the trampoline, the charge is detonated electrically, and he somersaults through the explosion, creating the desired effect. On August 20th, 1857, HMS Dunbar was wrecked here with the loss of 121 lives. The macabre reputation of the place has been enhanced over the years by a number of people who have committed suicide by jumping off the cliff. The police rescue squad pulls 12 bodies a year off the rocks or out of the treacherous waters around this area. Bob Woodham has no plans to become a statistic. He will jump 100 feet onto a carefully prepared rig made up of 500 cardboard boxes and 14 mattresses. The air trapped in the boxes will cushion his fall, provided, of course, that the boxes don't get wet from the flying spray. The wind has increased considerably since the start of the filming, and one big wave could ruin everything. Bob keeps an eye on his safety men as they lash the boxes together with rope and position the mattresses. The architecture of the rig has to be perfect. There's no room for error because Bob will hit it at a speed in excess of 70 miles per hour. The rig nears completion. Bob protects the most vulnerable parts of his body with special pads. Now he finalizes the sequence of events with the director.
Bob, how are you going to set about this?
Oh, when you roll cameras, I'll count 2, which will give you enough time for your high speed to get going. I'll get to the edge, and then I'll go. And land in the rig, I hope. I'm a bit worried about the wind. There's a bit of updraft, and the wind's very dodgy. Don't really know.
You scared?
Yeah, I'm scared.
Is this the highest fall you've ever done?
It's as high as any, yeah, it's a high fall.
Okay, let's go.
He hit the top corner of the rig a little off course due to a gust of wind. But the stuntman's twin goals are achieved. Survival and a good shot. The boxes are burned to make way for the next stunt, a simulated free fall, sometimes called the Flying Fox. Brad Page has been doing it on and off for 10 years.
Well, the simulated free fall is done as a complete drop. It's almost as if you've got no braking at all in the initial part. And all braking is done by friction on the rope by your brakeman down below.
To prepare the rope for this stunt, a preliminary jump is necessary at a slow speed to take the kinks out of it.
The rope actually goes straight through a carabiner with one twist on the side. This gives a completely free run until there's tension on the bottom side of the rope. And as soon as there's tension, this creates friction around the carabiner. And the size of the carabiner is important. The size of the rope and the type of the rope is also very important because it must give the right amount of friction. And from this, and only from experience, you can judge how fast your braking will be. Because if you're coming in at about 30, maybe 35 miles an hour, and you don't judge properly, you can be caught too high, and this will give a twist in the rope which will lock against the carabiner and could break your back quite easily. It's something you'd never want to do unless you had expert brakemen on the bottom that have to know what you're trying to do. You've got to work as a team. And if you don't work as a team, either you get killed or they get killed because you might hit them at about 30, 40 mile an hour.
And that was precisely what very nearly happened. The rope became wet, and all of a sudden, friction vanished. Give or take a few close shaves, the most hazardous stunt of the sequence was the tandem slide. The takeoff point was 175 feet up. First, the nylon slide rope had to be rigged from the top of the cliff, across the gap, to the rocks on the other side. Once secured, it had to be tensed as much as possible to prevent stretching under the combined weight of the two men. As the weather worsened, the preparations became almost as difficult as the stunt itself. Finally, the rope was ready.
Well, that is the whole connection to the slide rope. All you do is you just come in, your spinner's undone, and you just clip into the main rope. As soon as you've clipped in, grab a hold of both of the toggles, and it's important only to have a finger grip like this. Because if you've got your hand, say if you put your hand through like that, it'd be too hard to get your hand out. You get caught. So it's a light finger grip like this, so that you can just release very quickly. And in this particular one that we're going to do, it's going to be a tandem. I don't believe it's ever been tried. I don't know whether it'll ever be tried again after today either. But all it's going to be is exactly the same thing, but Bob's going to be across my shoulder and draped over there, and it's the same judgment again. You just let go, and this time it's just a case of both of us falling in the right place.
On this occasion, once they hit the water, their problems are not over. There is a 10-foot shelf under that ledge and a strong undertow. Get sucked under that and you don't come out alive. So they have to gauge the swell of the waves and time their moves precisely. Despite an ugly moment when they hit an overhanging ledge, the slide went off beautifully. There will always be westerns. Love stories, spy dramas, gangster pictures come and go, but westerns go on forever. In 70 years, the movie-going public has not grown tired of them. A significant part of the western's appeal is the stunt work. While a bulldozer prepares the ground on the set of a decaying western town, the stuntmen organize themselves for their respective scenes. Let's take an original situation where the stage carrying the gold shipment is being hotly pursued by the local wild bunch and is heading for the safety of the nearest town. Meanwhile, the ever-vigilant sheriff has heard the approaching gunfire and has organized an ambush. A horse fall like that is as much an act of faith on the horse's part as it is on the rider's. It is essential that the animal and man know each other well and trust each other completely. Through rehearsal in deep sand, the horse can be taught that when he falls, he's not going to hurt himself. In the end, he actually comes to enjoy it. A straight fault in the saddle is accomplished with the aid of step stirrups. There is no chance of the foot getting entangled, and the rider has a secure platform from which to vault cleanly onto the rig. same sense of timing was needed for the leap off the stagecoach, and the rig was hidden from camera view by a bush. For the double fall in the town, the rig had to be hidden below ground and covered over with sand, as the shot called for one body to be seen hitting the earth. The balcony rail was half sawn through to enable Warren Campbell to break it easily. Warren's next task was a tough shot. He had to double for one of the bandits, who was to appear to be blasted backwards clean off his horse. This effect is achieved by wearing a harness that is attached by a wire to a fixed base. The rider gallops forward till the wire runs out. The director was not quite satisfied and called for a retake. The safety man prepared the landing spot once again.
I find that once everything's taken into account, I don't think there is a chance in us getting hurt or killed. But there is always the time that there could be that accident.
On the retake, the wire from the harness broke. Warren fell badly and cracked 3 ribs. Before a stuntman starts working on a picture, he signs what is known as a blood release. He absolves the production company from all liability in case of death or injury. One of the disadvantages of the profession. The most dangerous of all horse stunts comes next, the stirrup drag. Such scenes are particularly hazardous because the instinctive reaction of a horse to something brushing its hind legs is to buck and lash out at it. So stunt horseman Graham Metrick had to get the horse used to dragging something close behind it. First a sack, then himself. He secured his foot in the stirrup with a short length of cord, then rigged it so that he could release himself from the horse as soon as he needed to. This horse weighs around 1,000 pounds. A kick from him will pack the combined punch of 4 heavyweight boxers. He could have used a special breakaway stirrup worked by the foot alone, but he favors this method, which he feels gives him more control. For the audience, a pretty picture. The contemporary action picture is where the stuntman finds most of his work, and a good stunt driver is always in demand. To give you an idea of a few of the stunts he could be called upon to do, let's take a situation where 2 criminals are planning to rob a bank courier. It should be a perfectly simple hit-and-run grab, but they didn't bargain on the result of 2 unfortunate coincidences: a can of gasoline in the back of their car and a righteously uptight passerby. As you can see, crime does not pay. Stunt work, however, does for a small group, the elite of the profession, who go regularly from one film to the next. Conditions vary from country to country, but in general, a stuntman is paid a daily retaining fee, equivalent to an actor's daily rate. Car crashes require the same degree of split-second timing. The drivers have to maintain precise speeds and aim for precise spots.
Yes, it's pretty dangerous, but it's my form of art, so, you know, I've got to cop it, I suppose.
I'm a little scared right now because I have something to do this afternoon that I've never done before in my life. And that's totally on fire. And I'm a little bit scared right now thinking about it.
For protection from the fire, Bob and Warren use a new product on the market, water gel. Invented in Australia, water gel is a fire retardant. Contact with it will put out a flame faster than any other known method. It's the only fire extinguisher medically approved to be used on people. The stuntmen wear a set of clothing soaked in water gel beneath their costume. For the scenes shot inside the burning car, the vehicle was stationary and was rocked from side to side to simulate movement. Kerosene-soaked rags attached to the outside of the car, combined with gasoline ignited on the inside, produced the desired wall of flame. The heat was intense, and after a while, the stuntmen indicated that they were no longer acting. A blanket soaked in water gel was quickly applied. The shots of Bob and Warren smashing through the windscreen on fire had to be taken several times to get the necessary number of different angles. Here the shot required is a tumble from the hood onto the ground. When the water gel blanket is applied, the effect is that of being hit with 3 gallons of hard water. It must be very welcome.
I worry more about getting badly hurt than killed. I've been close to being killed many times, even on this picture a couple of times. I'm very lucky to hit the rig. You know, lots of close ones like that where I've just caught the rig.
What is the action of such an undeniably dangerous profession?
For one thing, I like the money. Secondly, after learning a lot about the work of Bob, I find that it's very interesting and also very exciting. I find that getting the adrenaline running in the body really turns me on.
Yes, you do. You get a terrific feeling of exhilaration beforehand, when you're preparing, say you hang on the edge of a cliff ready to go, there's naturally a fair degree of, as I said, nervous anticipation. But once you've gone and it's the action's on, and you can feel everything working properly, there is a terrific feeling of exhilaration in it. And the feeling after, when you hit the bottom, a smile breaks out that you couldn't stop. It's just a beautiful feeling then.